In this episode, I find some more grime to clean, take some fluids out of their car, put some fluids in, take some fluids out, take some more fluids out, clean some more grime, and play around with some technology. Servicing and dirty jobs, starting with the oil change. I have no idea how this has been maintained over the years, so I'm going to start with oil flush. I have two. This one lists a bunch of ingredients. This one doesn't say very much. I'm going to use this one. First step, get the cap off. Well, probably easier said than done. No milkshake, that's good. Looks a bit varnishy. Don't spill. That'll work. Idle for 5 to 10 minutes. Not to be taken. Doesn't smell good anyway. Filter removal tool. That is tight. Well, while I've got the under tray covers off, I'll spray underneath with degreaser and give the engine bay a degreasing. First time I high pressure cleaned it was only with water. Now I'm going to try and get some of this dirt off. Just diving under the car to do the fuel filter, I've noticed the clamps are the pinch-on type. They're not actually screw clamps. Is this the original filter? This filter has been on here for 230 something thousand kilometers. Looks pretty old. Cut this stuff off. There's that side off. Oh, bit of pressure. Oh dear. Alright, let's prime the fuel system and see if it leaks. Prime again. Let's try and fire it. Which one's leaking? No, definitely one of the ones on the rear. Okay, so I made a minor adjustment. By minor adjustment, I mean I cut the hose where I think there was a pinhole. We'll try again, see if we stop the leak. Primes, no leak. Prime again, no leak. Start. Successful. Alright, so there's our fuel filter. Now, it's held on with these pinch clamps, which I had to break and twist off. That makes me think that this is an original filter in a car that's done 230,000 kilometers. Mercedes Benz part with part number. Looks pretty old. Cut it open now. Have a look inside. Just to start with, I'm going to tap out fuel, the reverse direction. Well, I mean, it doesn't really look that promising, does it? It's pretty gross. On we go. Have I started cutting in the wrong spot? How thick is this thing? I mean, it's not really necessary to cut open your fuel filter. I'm just curious. Whoa. I mean, that is black. Never seen that before. Did I cut the rubber? Or is that actually in the filter? This is putting up a fight. It does not want to let go. There's a tube running down the middle. It's causing a bit of trouble. That is so black. Oh man, that is, man, that is just so filthy. I mean, There's no way the car could have been running any good on that. So there's the casing dried out. Original Mercedes part number, easier to read here. Mercedes logo. It looks like manufacture date, March 02. Definitely original, definitely no good. Just to have a better look at the filter medium itself. And it is absolutely caked. That's absolutely caked. 20 years, no change of fuel filter. It's no good. Well, I lost some footage, but here's an update on what I missed. Valve covers come off, been painted, put back on. Coil cover came off, removed all the corrosion, repainted, put back on. Replaced the plugs. So when I changed the plugs, they were only in hand tight. The car was running fine, but they don't look great. Rocker cover gaskets just split. They are pretty hard. Gasket itself, that would not stop oil leaking. It was alright when it was sitting in place, but once it had moved, that would not reseal again. It's just junk. Well, the only things left to do under here is change the air filter, clean the oil out of the oil air separator running into the supercharger. And that's about it for now. All the engine covers are back on. It's almost ready to drive. Okay, next item on the agenda is need to run a code scanner on this. I know I've brought on a airbag light by disconnecting the seatbelt buckles, cleaning out the interior, but there may be other errors in here. Hook up a code scanner, see what we've got. I have not yet scanned this car, so whatever errors come up will be as much of a mystery to me as it is to you.
2 hours later.
Well, auto searching the VIN didn't work, so I've got to manually enter it. Don't know if that VIN's right. Better double check that somewhere. Do a scan. Ignition on. Okay.
Eventually.
Well, after an extremely long time, it's finally finished scanning all the modules in the car. Let's get a health report. This may also take a long time. Okay, so there are a lot of faults, but keep in mind a lot of these could be historical. So we got transmission control module, electronic stability, SRS, airbag as expected because I disconnected the seatbelt buckles. Overhead control panel has 8 faults. SAM signal acquisition, front and rear got 11 and 20. Instrument cluster's got 4. The good news is the AC's fine. So after clearing everything, it's showing a lot of green ticks, but it's still got 2 faults in ESP and 1 in SRS. Okay, that's still a stored code. It might go away when I start the car. Also both stored. Steering angle sensors because I haven't moved the steering wheel or started the vehicle. That'll clear itself. Might be on a winner here. Airbag light off. Okay, so the plan from here is to take off the airbox, change the air filter, take off the oil air separator from the supercharger, empty that out, and remove the baffle from the supercharger to make louder, whizzy supercharger noises. T25 bolts for air cleaner box. Oh, I should probably just remove that. That might make life a little easier. It's a bit oily in there. Not great. Oh, yeah. Not terrible, but not great either. There is a fair bit of floating debris. And larger bits in the airbox. It'd be really good if you didn't tell the missus I was using the Dyson to clean the car. Thanks. Two. Get all these off. Take off of there. Don't forget I left that in there, yeah? Take this off. Behave yourself somewhere, please. Out of the way? No? Sure. Okay. It's going to be a hose clamp there. Yes. Okay. Alright, so got to take the top part of the supercharger off. It's a 4E12. These guys, bolts on there to undo. And under here should be, the sound diffuser, which we don't want. Right under here. very easy to get to. Not really. See nothing. Well, I'm not going to lie, it's a challenge. Well, there's these 4 here. There'll be another 2 on the back side here to undo, and then this should come off. Oh, that was a difficult angle. It's important when doing jobs like this to rest your dirty hand on a nice clean valve cover so you get to clean it again later. Sneaky little bolt on a bracket down here, holding it to the radiator hose. Wasn't expecting that. So after a bit of wrestling, it's the top of the supercharger off. There is a bit of oil collected in here, a bit in here. Otherwise it looks pretty good. Give that a bit of a clean out, a bit of oil pulled in there. This is the supercharger intake as it sits on the supercharger. And on the underside, on the intake, this piece of plastic with all these little holes in it. And all that is a baffle to silence the noise of the supercharger, which I'm not really interested in doing. Alright, so using a Torx T30, 3 bolts holding it in, take those out. These 2 we don't need to worry about, that one will leave a hole. We'll see how that bolt actually looks. I may be able to thread lock a nut onto the back side to seal that hole, clean this all up, then we put it back on. Make spoolie whooshy noises. That was no joke. I dare say these are thread locked in. I don't feel like they're just screwed in. Ugh. Sorry if you can't see this. I'll save that one there, and this should just slide out. There we go. All that does is silence the supercharger and restrict airflow. Not required. So holder plug, a bit of thread locker on the bolt. That's way too much. Perfect. This is the direction it normally sits on the car. It's the front. Top is this way. This here tends to hold oil, apparently. It's a bit of degreaser. Try and clean it out. It's very thick at the moment in there. A lot of build up, I would say. Very, very not clean. So we'll let that sit and dry. Ugh. Right, uncover this, still clean. Alright, now to start it up and see if it's made a difference. Well, it has been raining a lot, which means I have to roll around in the mud. I don't want to, but I also don't want to wait any longer to keep working on this thing. Of course, I found more wrong. Engine mounts are gone. One on this side happens to be quite badly perished from what I can see. The other one's hard to see because it has a dust shield. And if I'm doing those, I may as well do the transmission mount as well. So I was working pretty hard on the driver's side engine mount because I had to jack the engine up to give clearance for the bolt. The bolt was hitting the bottom of the supercharger, so I had to unwind the bolt, jack it up a little, unwind the bolt some more. Eventually I got it out. This does not look fantastic, and I don't think it's supposed to make noise, but it is. I think it's trashed. Passenger side. Just use all the extensions for this one. That side's nice and free. Lift that one straight off. Throw it under the car. This one is definitely gone. There's a split and it's not supposed to leak. That is done for sure. Swishy sounds too. Yeah. New one. Old one. No swishy sounds. Kaput. Good. Just seeing if I can drop it in from the top or whether I'm going to have to go from underneath the same way the old one went out. May be able to fit it there. Nope. Underneath it is. It looks about right. Oh, that will be tight. This is the fun part. I wonder if I can go up more. Might be at limit there. there. I think I got it. Dropped it too much. Just got to drop it just enough so the bolt head doesn't touch the bottom of the supercharger, so I can actually do it up. Oh yeah. And now they're out of the car, I thought I'd take a closer look at the engine mounts. The driver's side, not in great condition, but at least this one wasn't leaking. The passenger side, however, it's totally shot. I shouldn't be able to move that with my hand, and yeah. Hydraulic engine mounts aren't supposed to leak their oil. And the trans mount, well, it's not fully split, but it is starting to wear. Because when one engine mount goes, it puts load on the other mounts as well. So when changing one, it's best to change them all. Well, it's probably long enough for this episode. For the next one, I'll get on to doing wheels, suspension arms, restore the headlights, and anything else that may pop up. It'll be a surprise for all of us. See you on the next one.